So I
Well,
started off with you. What are your thoughts about the alpha beta discussion and the traits that what men should be working on to become the best version of themselves?
so first of all, for me, the way that I understand a whole alpha beta talk, alpha beta is that's a strategy to get to the overall goal. Whatever your goal is, to me, your goals is just take care of business.
Mhm.
Maybe your strategy is to, like me, I don't consider myself like I'm a rah-rah guy out in the front. I hang back, I just do what I do, and
Mhm.
then I know what my goals are, I know how to set goals. I know how to make objectives for those goals. I know how to make a strategy to meet my objectives to make my goal.
Mhm.
So I don't have to be, all out there like, all aggressive and all of that. That's the way that I understand the alpha and beta conversation.
Mhm.
So to me, maybe I'm not an alpha. How they define it. To
Yeah.
me, that stuff only really works when you're trying, just like you were saying, like how to attract a female. I don't worry about none of that. I work
Mhm.
on me. So
Mhm.
when I work on me, then, I have things that I'm not even, you know, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not worried about that. It comes to
Yeah.
you. That's what my dad taught me. You
Yeah.
work on you, everything will come to you. You just work on you.
Mhm.
So when I hear like the whole alphabeted thing, the way, at least the way that it's brought, presented, it's like it's a trending talk. That's how I look at it. And then you have people like the Kevin Samuels, like I guess he would be like the father of it right now.
Mhm.
So, and then the way that he presents it, it's it's it pushes a lot of people away. So to me, it's like, I mean, and this goes deeper into the conversation, but um, you know, I guess just to say, as stay at the question that you asked, you just work on yourself as a man. You work on yourself. You treat everybody the way you want to be treated, but you make your goals. You make your goal, you make your objectives, and then whatever your strategy is, you don't have to be like, okay, well, they said I'm supposed to be an alpha, I'm supposed to just do this and do that. No, whatever your personality trait is, you use your personality to finesse and get whatever, your to reach your goal. No, not manipulate people. You use yourself to reach where you are. Everybody. I have a kid. He's very ambitious. He's very, man. He sees something. He's like, man, I gotta get that. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And then I have another one. He's real laid back. He's very creative.
Mhm.
He's not as rah rah as my first kid.
Mhm.
But my last kid is like, but he still gets it.
Mhm.
So they both get what they want but you have to, as a parent, I'm telling you, you have to teach them certain, see what their qualities are and then expound on their qualities. But if I tell my youngest, my second kid and say, you got to be like Noah, Noah's rah rah, that don't work for him, So maybe he's better as a beta, My oldest son, he's an alpha, So I don't like to use those kind of terms because it's more like whatever works. Use your qualities, and then that's how you get what you want. But it's never I'm trying to attract this and I'm trying to attract that. You just work on you and what you want, and those things will come to you. So that's my whole thing on alpha beta, but I can get deeper into it if you want to. But
No, no, no worries. And we'll come back to you, Will. But I would say this, Will. What are traits? What are your strong traits that has worked for you? Because there's a lot of
me,
guys out there watching right now, and they're looking for answers, right? And I know working on yourself. Can you be more specific? Like, what's specific traits that you realize for yourself? Like, this is things I know I lack as a man. I lack as a man. And
mhm.
if I don't work on this, my life is not. I'm not gonna get to where I'm not gonna achieve my goals because you guys all know this. Like goals, like it's the process. It's like who you. It's not about the goals. Who you become in the process as a man. So for you, like what were the traits or things that you worked on when you realized that you were lacking as a man, and then once you worked on those certain traits or qualities, then things started to improve. Like if you had to like name your top traits about yourself that you realize that you're pretty good at.
Right. Just the main thing is don't worry about how other people are doing. So I grew up in Northern California,
Okay.
um, and well, not grew up. I was a military kid basically, so I moved around a lot.
Okay.
But my base was Fort Ord. There's Monterey area, California. So it's seaside and marina and all of that. And so a lot of my family, they were kind of into like uh, you know, whatever was going on in the area. And a lot of times it was the blood stuff, there was a Crip stuff. I didn't worry about any of that, you know. But then until I started hanging around them, and it was like, oh, now I'm worried about what they're thinking. And it's like you get sucked into that lifestyle, and you're getting in trouble and you don't want to, and you're trying to, once I figured out, man, this is not doing anything for me. Let me focus on myself. And it's really not, you know, there's no rocket science to it. It's separating yourself and focusing on you. So, and I was already like that anyway, but then I think where I veered off was where I started worrying about what other people thought about me. And as soon as I did that, everything went bad. You know, got arrested, got in trouble, you know, got, you know, shipped here, shipped there. You know, once I got rid of all of that and went back to the way that my father taught me, then I was good, you know. I mean, I still got my challenges or whatever, but just stay focused on you. Everything else will come. So.
All right, no worries. Yeah, just real quick, you know, one of the things I did read up on when I was just looking at the psychology terms, you know, alpha is tend to be a male that's disagreeable, that's willing to not follow what everybody else is doing, just be able to stick to what he believes in. You know, that's typically what the alpha is. So yeah, I think that means you're an alpha.
Whether I like it or not.
All right. Yeah. So same thing, same question. I'm gonna pass it to Chelsea. So Chelsea, same thing. Like, what are your thoughts about the alpha beta discussion, and you know the traits that you know, based on your experience, like the certain traits that work for you to help you become the man you are today. For all the men out there that's watching. Oh, you're on mute. Chelsea, you're on mute.
First of all, it's a beautiful conversation, but I want to get back to the source of what, you know, for myself.
Yeah.
And the way that we're brought up in the islands is definitely alpha. It just is. The way that we're brought up, how poor we are, determines who we get to be in the future. And when we leave the islands and come back here, and it just, this place here gives us a bigger and a better opportunity to take on what that is. Right? And it doesn't matter. What we learn is what we learn. Right? And we simply take it on. And I have it in a way of being, an alpha way of being, is it's beautiful. And a lot of our people are turning into jails and things like that, right? Only because they're one tough son of a guns. And I have it as the most beautiful thing, that we are a trained savage. We're trained to be alphas. The only thing that we can do to transform that is we have created these men that are ongoing and developing themselves to become beasts in the world.
Yeah.
As an alpha. What do we do with them? Right?
Yeah.
Because in here in the States, what we do is we raise good children, and then when they grow up to be men, we then try to build them as alphas, as beasts.
Yeah.
And that's why the way we are. We're already beasts as we come into the world. The way we're raised up, we're determined to be beasts because that's the way that we're taught. Imagine that every single one of us get that we're already beasts within, up here and here. And now we get to manage being that beast and learn to be civilized. Because the beast is always going to be there. Imagine that. So we have it in our conversation, what you mentioned earlier, that there is a wrong way and right way to live. You want to consider that word, right? Because if you have to be a certain way, then there's a right and a wrong. We want to walk away with the conversation that there is two types of people that we're trying to look at. We're trying to find the right people to go that way and the wrong people to go that way. What if we just got all the beasts together and we taught them the way you got here is the way that you're brought up. And there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. And then we can go back and let's see how you got here because of this certain thing that you learned from your parents, from your grandparents, from your uncle, and dissect that part of it so they can truly have an understanding why they are the way that they are. That's the most important part, right? Because we already categorize every single person that's out there in jail as nothing.
Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
And that's what we all do. Every human being says one person that's in jail and we go, we're done with him.
Mhm.
And that's where we human beings stop us from growing. Like that's a humanity, that's very human. That's a human condition that we already sit there and judge every single person. And that's another way of, that's still an alpha way of being, that you get to sit there and judge. What if you took yourself back and say that human being is going through what he's going through in life? What if we can teach him how he got there and how we can reverse that to become different in life?
Yeah.
Right. So I go back. It's always been about the beginning. Go back to the source. Teach them where they came from. Teach them where things happen and move and how they wound up being. So they can see for themselves that they don't have to be the way they wound up being. You get the difference? We all wind up a certain way.
Yeah.
And then it wound up that way. Savage wound up his way. Willie, you wound up a certain way.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, you don't have to be the way that you wound up being, but you have to go back to your source. Find yourself, where is it in life, and who taught you to be the way that you are? And do you want to stay the way that you are? Because you have a choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice, and that choice is yours. And the part to teach is that we all have a choice. That we're all human beings, because if I can't see you as a human being, if I can't see every single person around me as a human being, then there's no transformation in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we're sitting there pointing finger, that guy is this, that guy is this, that woman is this, that woman is this, we no longer see human beings.
Okay.
You get that? We are no longer human beings. And we're divided. This world is divided. We Polynesians are divided because we don't know where we come from.
So Sasi, I would say is so the kids that say they didn't grow up with the culture, that didn't grow up with the ethnic background, like how would they navigate through that, right? Because I think all of us, we did grow up with that culture. Like how would they?
Yeah.
If they grew up.
And
with go ahead.
I go back to what Fernando was talking about. Really, I mean, this is a part where it's all about self-development. You discovering for yourself how you wind up being, and undo the things that's been taught to you. Okay. And for you, for an individual, discover what has people stop and what has people move forward. It's a self-discovery thing. It's not something that you just get pounding into people's head. Mm-hmm. It's a self-reflection. How did I get to be this way? For me, the biggest part of the way that I was is that I never understood why I didn't want to cry. Right?
Yeah,
why I didn't want to shed tears. Why that I had to pound my chest constantly when I'm feeling angry.
Yeah.
What I discovered for myself is that ever since I've grown up, like I was taught, men don't cry.
Yeah.
Men don't cry. Like we don't share our feelings. Men don't share feelings. And that's part of the things that has shaped me to be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Not sharing what's truly going on here. And that's why majority of people that are walking around have the fight within them, because they can't express things that they truly want to express. Mm-hmm. You got that?
Yeah.
And it's that for me. Being vulnerable for me was the biggest thing that I had to learn for myself. It's taking me 7 years of looking in my life, where in life did I stop myself from being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is for myself, when I was 19, my father had passed away. Mm-hmm. It was that moment when my father passed away that I said I'm no longer going to cry. And I blamed everybody else but myself. Mm-hmm. Now I'm at 50 and I'm just now discovering what it means to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And the way that we're taught, vulnerability for men is weak, right?
Yeah, it's weakness.
What I'm saying now, if I were to learn early in my life that vulnerability is king and vulnerability is queen. Right? Those are the small, that's one small thing that we can take a look ourselves for men. Mm-hmm. What is it about you and the vulnerability? What is it that you think that you have to keep everything in? Mm-hmm. Right? That's one trait that I had to learn for myself, is allow me to be with my emotions. Not get hijacked by my emotions, but just be with it, acknowledge that it's there and move forward.
Yeah.
right? But it goes back, I like what William-nacouzi said, is it's all about self-discovery, or going back to, you got to go work on self, because you can't lead with the thought that, with the things that you're taught, because you limit yourself to what you're taught. Your discovery of who you are and what's possible is everything.
Mm-hmm.
You got that? All the stuff that you learn in school is very limited. It only takes you a certain height.
Mm-hmm.
But in the world of self-discovery, you can go beyond that.
Yeah, I love what thing Cashapp said, is like you said that to discover yourself, you have to unlearn what everybody else told you what you need to be and just be yourself, right? So pretty much what we're saying, because we're all islanders out here, like, you know, you guys all know islanders, we are very traditional, we're very religious. There's certain things that's been ingrained in us, been taught to us ever since as a child. And a lot of times, this mental conditioning, we never challenge these things, right? We never challenge anything we know. But if you're a man out there and you work on your purpose and you're going, you know, you realize for yourself that you have to figure out your own answers for yourself. So one thing I would ask you, Chelsea, what were certain things that was taught to you that was the expectation of what a man should be that you had to unlearn? You mentioned one of them, a man can't cry, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the thing is, you can be a man, you can be a man and still be vulnerable. That's one of the things. A lot of guys, a lot of the young men out there, they think that if you're vulnerable, if you cry, you're a bitch, you're weak, you're a pussy. So the thing is, for you, like, you can still be a man and still be vulnerable, right? So you found that balance. But can you take a step further? What other things that you have to unlearn?
So I had to unlearn for myself. You know, you're talking about the tongue ways. You know, brothers are one room and sisters on the other room, and you can't mix the two.
Mm-hmm.
In the way that I was brought up, boys cannot walk into the girls' room and none of that. Mm-hmm. And when I was growing up, it was the same thing. Like, I could not step foot into my sister's room, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And what I found for myself, that I never had connection with my sister. Like, I had no connection. There was no interaction other than hi and bye and bye. Mm-hmm. So my kids are 26 and 24 at this moment. And what I was fighting for myself is, how can I let go of what I've been taught so that my kids can grow up differently, that they can have a connection? Because the way that I was taught, I have it is all come from men's insecurities about who they are and what they've done in the past to whoever that is, right? Given that is part of the culture, and that culture comes from somewhere, I can only say it came from somebody's experience. That if you put a boy and a girl together, something's going to happen. So I constantly have to fight that and allow my kids to be kids, allow my son and my daughter to really have an awesome relationship.
Okay.
Right. That's one thing that I had to fight. And it took me 26 years. It's still, my daughter is 26, my son is 24. And I'm still having to fight those old thoughts that have been taught to me. The other example is, you know, I also have a 10-year-old that I put him up on Instagram once in a while, and my brother texts me, "Why don't you smack the shit out of that kid?" My response to him, I'm like, "No, that was handed to me every single time. When I did get what I want, what I got is a smack, the belt, the hose, everything else, right?" And I didn't want to do that to my son. But while I'm trying to discipline myself to undo what I've been taught in the past, it was killing me up here. Yeah. Because I have it that my ancestors are all behind me, and they're stabbing me. Like, why are you letting this happen in this new world? Why are we keeping our tradition? The being physical with our kids. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you disciplining him to make sure that they know, that they know that we're king, right? So that they know that we're it, that we're king. Because, sorry.
You're good.
So that they know the king. I'm also giving an example. I was going through some stuff with my 24-year-old, and I had it that in my mind that I needed to break his knees. My son was yelling at me. And at that moment, there was a trigger for me. Like, all of the noises came from the background of my head. It's like, take a 4x4, break your son's knee so he knows who the man is. You got that?
Yeah.
So that he knows who the man is. And I am king and you are my son and you will obey me. And in that moment, I had to find myself. I had to look beyond myself to find the strength at this moment that my son gets to be self-expressed and that my sons get to grow up differently and not have what has done to me before in his future. That I get to be the chain that I get to break right here at this moment. My son and I have a beautiful relationship because I chose that I do not want to repeat all the things that has been done to me. And that it can only happen when I want to work on self. Like William said, work on self, which means you're going to have to take on some new program to face yourself, face the things that you're going through in life, have a conversation about what you're dealing with so you can understand for yourself what you made it mean and what other alternatives that you can have. Look into the future of possibilities. And only then that you can have a transformed life.
Yeah, I love what you said, Chelsea. You know, you said that I did not want to repeat the things that happened to me. And man, there's much respect for you that you broke the cycle, right? The generational cycles. And we all know there's cycles that happen, or traumas or things that happen in our community. And one of the feedback I always get from a lot of the Polynesian women that follow me is their complaints about their husbands being abusive, violent, anger issues, aggressive. And to me personally, a lot of that because as men, because we've been taught to be alphas, we don't know how to manage our emotions.
Yeah.
Right. That you can cry, you can be vulnerable, you can express, you can have dialogue, right? You can have dialogue with people. If you know, as Pacific Islanders, the way we deal with conflict is physical.
That's it.
Right. But when you master yourself, like you said, when you master yourself, you realize you don't all conflicts, you can deal with it with your mindset, right? And then again, that's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. By the way, Chelsea. But real quick, I do want to give a shout out real quick to Underground Roads to give us a super chat. Much love to you. Much love to you. Thank you very much for your financial donation for $2.99. Thank you so much for your donations, Underground Roads. Thank you so much. I see the live chat is kind of popping right now. A lot of you guys are sending you guys your feedback. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts. We're having some deep combos right here. We're going all the way deep, y'all. All the way to the deep of the ocean tonight. There's no going back.
No going back.
No going back. But let me know your thoughts. Also, don't forget, a lot of these fellas are dropping truth right here. So don't forget, if you guys want to jump on and be part of this conversation, if you're a young man out there and want to jump on, want to ask these guys directly, if these are the things that you guys experience in your life as well. And like I said, I invite you to be on here and express yourself on here. So all you guys out there, if you guys want to jump on. But yeah, thank you so much, Chelsea. I really appreciate that. But yeah, we're gonna move on to Savage. Same question, you guys. Same question for you, Savage. The alpha beta discussion and what are your experiences, especially when it comes to traits as a man that kind of helped you become who you are today.
Well, first, definitely peace and honor to the ancestors who've come before us, and I want to thank the gentleman for allowing me to get on here and join the likes of you guys, because your perspective not only means a lot to me, but I don't take myself too serious sometimes, only out of the fact that I really don't believe anybody hears me for when I say it. The fact that you asked me to be on here, I hope that anything I say, that you guys understand it comes from my heart. I'm not trying to clout chase. Everything you'll get from me is authentic. So with that being said, the concept of the alpha and the beta, I'm gonna give you the three phases of myself. So how I understand it, if we were truly back then in the times in which this would matter, there'd be a lot of dead men and women. Mm-hmm. If there was a real alpha, that motherfucker would probably kill a lot of us. Mm-hmm. The show. The alpha was Arnold Schwarzenegger. The alpha was Jake the Muss. The alpha was, the biggest, the toughest guy in the room who could sleep with the most women, have the most kids, have the most money, the biggest house on the biggest hill. And I wasn't aware at the time when I was following the mold, when I was following models in the neighborhoods, that the alpha was misled. The alpha was misinformed. The alpha was creating a model for the rest of us young men to follow and die in. And nobody wanted to break the lineage. Nobody wanted to say, hey, there's something wrong with this. There's something wrong with the format, because these guys ain't living too long. These their families ain't too happy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even at the beta himself, like just thinking back then, how I would look at my uncles, my cousins, you know, I have half cousins, I have full cousins, I have, you know, I have cousins from different mothers, different cousins from different fathers, and you know, this was alpha shit. This is, hey man, oh bro, we're gonna go to the Phi Kappa, and you know, we're gonna do our thing. And next thing you know, I walk in, and you know, my uncle's with another woman, and I don't understand the concept, but everybody's cheering them on. Yeah, all right, woo, Malos Yana. And although I'm thinking it's cool, my auntie's in the room crying. You know what I'm saying? The kids are misunderstanding the situation that, well, you know, dad's just doing what dads do. We're normal. And then it becomes okay. So then I come into play, and I grow up in a generation where, you know, let me now go do what alphas do. I'm going to sleep with this girl, that girl. I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to tell people what to do. I'm going to, you know, hopefully shoot for the moon and hope for the best, and, you know, leave a trail of broken hearts while I'm at it. And, you know, I learned towards my 20s that what sucked about it was I caused more harm to myself than anything. Because now I'm 32 years old, and all the stupid shit I was doing that I thought alphas were supposed to do, I'm now regretting in the sense that it's hurting me now. But I have a daughter now, and I have to expect the same thing, that if there's an alpha out there who wants to do alpha shit, my daughter is in the firing sights of an alpha. Oh yeah, weren't you an alpha back in the day? Hey, old man, I got the game too. And you know, it's a scary thing. You know, Xiaoxi said it too, is you don't cry. And if you cry, you're a bitch. If you cry at any point, I don't care if your father died. I don't care if your brothers aren't there for you. I don't care. If you cry for 1 second, for 1 minute, anybody, we're pulling your man card. You are a man if you cry. So shut the hell up and suck it up. Then we have things like mental health, depression. We have to take medication because we can't regulate our emotions. And it sucks. I would rather the belief would be rather die than let you know how I really. I don't in front of my friends. Just know I love you. This is normalized. Definitely very normalized. I'd say was born in 88, 90s, coming into the 2000s. I mean, still today, there are kids who actually believe if you cry, you're a bitch. I work in the school district out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the one thing that's, you know, weird for me to see is that, you know, Pacific Island kids or any other kids from any culture agreed upon that, right, you're not a man, and should you tell your feelings you're not a man, and you should drugs and alcohol so that if you do have emotions, internalize them. And what happens when you internalize them is it builds and it builds and it builds, and like a time bomb, it explodes. Whether somebody wants to unalive themselves or beat the crap out of the body, it never ends well when the alpha puts himself in. Now, the resolution that I'm looking for myself is, well, who's the alpha now? What does the alpha do these days? So I admit, babe, I'm wrong. I fucked up. I didn't mean to do that. In front of my friends acting that way. Could you please forgive? That's alpha shit to me now. Alpha shit is like, guys, I can't come out tonight. My daughter got school tomorrow, and I have to go and see that. Alpha shit is, son, it's okay. It's okay if you're crying. Daddy's fucked up many times in his life. And, you know, I'm probably going to fuck up more times in the future. But just know this, if I don't give up, I'm pretty sure I'll succeed one day. That's alpha shit to me. And, you know, there may not be many people who agree with that, and that's totally fine. You know, at the end of the day, behind this face paint, behind these eyes, behind this skin, behind the blood and the vessels and the bones, still beats a spirit of a man who's just trying to make ends meet for their family, provide, protect, teach while I can, while I'm here on this plane of existence. And I don't ever want it to be misconstrued that if anything ever came out of my mouth, that the true character of a man is not what you're doing in front of everybody, you're doing away from everybody when it does it. Are you taking care of your wife? Are you taking care of your kids? Are you taking care of your mental health? Are you working out? Are you eating, taking care of your nutrition? Are you trying to live a longer life for your kids so that when it's time for you to leave, they have everything they've ever learned from you and that they can use in their life? Every day I think about the alpha. I think, what is my son learning from me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna lie. My son wouldn't be gay if I was doing the shit that I would believe to do. That I as a man would think I'm doing as a man. My son will see the example that I am setting and follow the example.